Now, be honest. Don't some of you wish you could do this to Dave Chappelle?
How dare you leave the Chappelle Show? That show was in its prime! How dare you only give us a few seasons, you damn comedic genius!
But I have to admit, the bully from the original is pretty funny too. It's just so strange how a student would abuse a teacher like this.
And that wasn't very nice when you said that my practice was stupid.
No, I might have meant that I was stupid in assuming that practice was stupid.
Naughty, naughty, naughty.
Now,
teacher.
Well, no, you shouldn't be upset. You must realize that. You must realize what you're doing.
But his revenge is only reduced to a talking down to, and that's not nearly as funny. Chappelle is obviously the funnier guy here. But for me, the most hilarious character is the Dean from the original. I just love how stereotypically white he is. This is the over-the-top tight ass who always wants everything to run smoothly.
Do you happen to recall what that additive was?
And nitroglycerin.
The results were?
Negative.
And?
Noisy.
Noisy?
We've seen this character a dozen other times in a lot of other films, but the timing and exaggerated delivery this guy has just makes him unbelievably funny. The Dean in the other movie is good too, and he certainly has his strong moments.
Comfy?
Great.
Anything I can get for you? Juice, coffee, rack of lamb?
But this guy is just so memorable. Watch how quickly he switches moods.
I saw young Phipps the other day. You recall Arnold Phipps was in my class that day.
Oh, yes, really? What did he have to say?
Well, he said he's feeling much better and that the bandages should be off in about 2 weeks.
Oh, well, exactly. That's exactly what I mean. You are a menace.
That was like a millisecond, and that's funny as hell. Now, some of you might be wondering about the family in the newer version, who's all played by Eddie Murphy. It's hard to say whether or not I should include them, seeing how they're all the same person. I don't know, I think it's sort of cheating to include them personally, but even if I did include them, I would still lean towards the Lewis version. As funny as they are, they seem a little bit more distracting than they do helping. I mean, it is humorous, but not hilarious. I'm just admiring the effects more than I am the actual comedy. With that said, I have to lean towards the Lewis version, because even though they have fewer characters than the Murphy version, they're still so damn memorable. And don't get me wrong, the ones in the Murphy version are too, but these characters seem to be written a little tighter and are a little bit more direct, which means you get a lot more comedy out of them and at a faster pace. Though I guess logically that means they do a better job at participating to the humor of the film. And that gets my vote. Point goes to the Lewis version.
What's right is right.
And now for the big deciding point, the comedic lead. Which one of these guys was not only funnier, but had a lot more heart in its character? This is the main lead. This is another one that's hard to choose because both these guys are hilarious in their own right. They can get a little grating at times, but for the most part, they're just gold. But we gotta make a decision here, so let's start with both of them as the professor. Both Murphy and Lewis do a great job creating these innocent yet socially unpopular people. Lewis focuses more on the goofiness of the character.
Well, just don't do something. Sit there. That is, class dismissed.
While Murphy focuses more on the fragile human side.
Seem to have missed myself. I mean, I haven't really missed myself. I mean, I missed my shirt.
But to be fair, that's not to say Lewis doesn't at times either. Like I said, his ending speech I think is one of the most vulnerable moments ever put on film. And because he doesn't have to wear a fat suit, he's also allowed to do a lot more fast physical humor. There's physical humor in the new version as well, but it's mostly special effects related. Now granted, Lewis's voice can get pretty annoying at times.
Now that you bring it up, the additive was, specifically 3 parts carbon, 5 parts hydrogen, 1 part nitrogen, and 3 parts oxygen.
Thank God we never saw Jerry Lewis's extended family in this version. But then again, I guess the professor's voice is supposed to be a little annoying. That was sort of the idea. And it never does shadow the kind hopelessness that the character possesses. I don't know, for me it's kind of a tie, as I feel really sorry for both of them, and yet I also find them both incredibly funny. But let's take a look at the other persona, Buddy Love. These two couldn't be more different. Lewis plays him as this smooth swinger who acts like nothing impresses him.
I know what you're thinking. Where's he been all my life, right?
Murphy plays him like an eccentric billionaire who can do whatever he wants and enjoys every second of it.
Take a break, nigga, right there. Take the Everly Brothers with you. Come on, it's showtime!
But this is where I really have my problem. And believe it or not, it's not with the Murphy version, it's with Lewis's. I know what he's trying to do, sort of a satire of Dean Martin, playing it so cool that he's able to get away with murder. The thing is, though, that I buy the part of him that's supposed to be a jerk, but I don't buy the part about him being suave. He just seems like a rich asshole. There's nothing charming about him at all, which is weird. He's a good singer, fancy dresser, can defend for himself, even if he does punch like a girl. So what's wrong with him? I think this comes from the fact that nothing about him seems confident. It seems like an act. Whenever I look at him, I feel like here's an insecure douche who's trying to look like a not insecure douche, and yet still comes across as an insecure douche. Douche.
What'll it be?
Aw, that's no way to talk. What'll it be?
And don't get me wrong, Murphy's version is a douche too. But at least he has a lust for life. He enjoys everything. He's the kind of person you want to go partying with. You can understand why people would want to be around him. And if he hurts your feelings or anyone else's feelings, hell, at least you have a lot of fun through it. I don't get that with Lewis. It seems like a wimp who's trying to act like a tough guy, and that shouldn't be. Everything about him is written right, and I love the way he just appears in the room. You ever notice that? He never walks in, he just sort of appears. But I just never believed he was a cool jerk. Now there's lots of people that can pull off the cool jerk and still seem confident, like Jack Nicholson, Orson Welles, Marlon Brando, that bitch from Peanuts, but I never got it out of Lewis. Murphy's version, while certainly wild and over the top, still seemed likable, even when he was doing horrible things. Tough to say because I love both versions of the Professor so much, but I think Murphy's is just a little bit more believable, and therefore more identifiable, even if he is a wild pain. And like I said, I love both of these movies a lot, but if you had to twist my arm and force me to choose, I'd have to go with the newer version. Mostly because Murphy's characters just seem more complete. And on top of that, the film just seems more focused. True, there are many moments in the old that are funnier, and if it hadn't been for the original version, this one wouldn't even exist. But this just seems like the more complete film, and it gets my vote as the better movie. The Eddie Murphy version, the superior comedy.
Oh, Hercules, Hercules, Hercules.
And that's my old versus new on the Nutty Professor movies. I hope you like this show, and... the parents of that Peppermint Patty kid, because they didn't like what I said about their daughter. Hello? What? I can't understand you! Why don't you stop blowing a horn and fucking talk to me? Who does that? Who talks to people as a horn? What? Okay, you're really freaking me out now. Stop it! Stop doing that! No, speak English to me, don't! Hold on. I'm a nostalgia critic. I remember it so you don't have to. Who does that? Who talks to a fucking horn? Hold on, let me get my clarinet. We can have a proper conversation. Shut up!
Hercules, Hercules.